2024 is the year that I'm doing every single bit of my planning in Notion. I got into Notion for the first time around 2 years ago, and since then I've used it to varying degrees. It's usually just been a part of my planning process in combination with either my digital planner on my iPad or my paper planners that I would use. It was usually more for more long-term things, and then my day-to-day planning would be done in these other planners. This year, one of my vibes for the year is just being very tech-centric and using technology to completely optimize my life. So I feel like in order to do this, I needed to centralize all of this stuff into one planning system. And Notion is the only place where I think this is possible. But that being said, the Notion that I had before was not optimized to be able to put my whole entire life in there. I didn't have any monthly, weekly, or daily planners / dashboards. And there was some other stuff that was just kind of disconnected between different pages. I had used some templates that were kind of separated rather than having everything kind of integrated into one system. I also added some pages, deleted pages. It was just kind of like a Frankenstein of a ton of different templates and everything together. So I knew heading into 2024 that I needed something that was completely connected, really efficient, and custom built to exactly what I need out of a Notion system. So that's exactly what I did. So some background on me so you know who the system was built for. I am a freelance content strategist and writer, and I also create some content for the internet, both video and written content. And I'm also just a generally extremely organized person. So that's the foundation on which this system was built. So I thought I'd do a little walkthrough video. I don't even know how many of these I've watched on YouTube as I was getting to know Notion over the past couple of years, but especially as I was building this out throughout all of the last month of 2023. So I'm gonna go through it. This is going to be extremely long. There's going to be timestamps below if you want to switch around to see any certain sections. But basically the point of this video is to, one, if you're looking to build your own Notion dashboard, this can help you maybe get some inspiration for things that you want to include, because this is very, very comprehensive. Like I said, I want to organize everything in my life, so everything in my life is in this template. Also, if you don't feel like building your own and you just want to get a ready-made template, this is also up for sale on my Etsy and my Gumroad, whichever one you want to use. So if you want to save yourself weeks and weeks of building, you can just buy this for $10. So whatever you're looking for out of this video, enjoy my full Notion tour. Okay, so let's get started walking through this whole Notion system. So this is kind of the home page, and this is where everything lives. So I'm going to do a quick rundown of everything on here, and then we can do a deep dive into all these different sections. So first right here, we have all of the tasks. So this is a task database that's integrated into most of the other pages that are on here. So on this view, you just see everything that has a deadline during this week, so that it'll automatically populate here. If you have a new task, if it's during this week, you can go ahead and add it right to one of these places. But if you have something that's a little bit farther out, you can also click right here to add a task. And then I have all of these different fields that you can fill out if you have anything to fill out, like related campaign, content, project, urgency, deadline, or at this point, you can just add the title and fill in the rest of the stuff later. I also have a content idea place right here. I'll walk through the content system later, but basically if you have an idea for some kind of content, you just add it here. This has a couple more fields than the task database does. If you just want to look through there, there's tons of different fields. You can either add that in right now, or you can add it in later and just put the title of it just to get started, so it's a little bit quicker to add it. And then these, I will go through this once we get to the content system, but these are basically templates that help give you a framework for all of the other details you're going to fill out for specific types of content. And then moving down here, this is the planner portion. So this is kind of the most valuable thing for me that I've never had on Notion before. So if I go here, it'll go to a layout of all the different months. And then if you click on these, it'll go to the specific month. And then within there is the weekly dashboards as well. So we'll get into those in a few minutes. Also a vision board. I'm a big fan of making a vision board either on a yearly or a monthly basis or even quarterly. So you can just put your vision board here so it's front and center and you can always see it. And then here are all of the 4 main sections. So creative flow is going to be anything, since this is built for people who are creatives and especially creative entrepreneurs, this is a lot of where your inspiration, ideation, everything like that will live. Business, pretty self-explanatory, especially if you are an entrepreneur. This is some of the critical things that you need. I do not have a financial system in here to track your expenses and your income and everything, just because I personally don't need that. I use a business bank account for it that keeps track of all those things for me. So that's the only thing I think is missing here for other people, but it's just not something that I need, so I didn't build it. And then we have future focused, pretty self-explanatory. And then here's life admin. There's just a ton of random different life things that you can group together there. So first, let's go into the planner portion. So this is what it looks like on the monthly dashboard. It's really simple. You just click on here to get to the specific months. So I filled this out. So this is what my actual January dashboard looked like for this month. So I like to do a word of the month. This month was dedication. So I just have that prompt there if that's something that's helpful for you. And then just some notes here too. So any notes you want to put down, you can do those here. I keep this section as more like orienting notes, things that you really want to keep at the top of your mind to make this month as good as possible. There's also this other notes section that could be like other logistical notes, or you could delete this section and not use it too. And then priorities too, and then the goals and actions. So I'll walk through the goal setting dashboard later. If you watched my previous video, I did walk through kind of how the system works, but we'll walk through it again later. And this is just anything that is in the quarter that you're in is going to automatically pop up here, so you know what goals you're working on currently. And then weekly dashboards. So this is a decision that I made that I've seen other templates where when you want to generate a new weekly or daily dashboard, you click a button and it generates it. But I just wanted to front load a little bit of this work at the beginning of the year, or I guess the end of last year, where all of these are already built out for me. And what's kind of cool is they're already right here too. So if I want to open any of my weekly dashboards, I just have to expand this, expand the month, and then I can click on the date there. So that is super helpful navigation wise for me. And then we have our task list. Any of the tasks that are due this month will show up here, and then they'll also show up on this calendar. So let's walk through. This is this week's dashboard, so you can kind of see what's on here. So little calendar here to just orient you where you're at in the month, weekly focus, any notes, all pretty self-explanatory. And if in these notes, you can use them however you want. If you want to do a quote that's really inspiring, if you want to add a video in there that you saw that was really great that you want to carry with you throughout the rest of the week, you can basically do whatever you want here. And it does look kind of different from week to week from how I've been using it so far. And that's okay. I don't think you have to be strict about how you're using any of these sections. Tasks, these are all of the tasks due for this week. And if I want to add another one, I just add them right here. If I want to add a task for the future, I can click on this. And then the schedule, I do use Google Calendar for a lot of things, but I have some disconnected calendars. I have like my personal one, I have my work one, and then I have some client accounts that I have to have an email with them. So I have calendars for them too. So I just like to go through here on Monday morning and just write down all of my meetings and activities and events and everything, just so I have them in one place. And then this is also an opportunity to schedule my workouts, when I'm going to work on certain tasks. Since I am a freelancer, my schedule is a little bit different. I have to juggle different clients. So it's helpful for me to have this place where I can just kind of schedule things out without making a full commitment to block something out on my Google Calendar. I have my habit tracker here too. I've been super consistent with my habits. It's Saturday today, so I'm very proud of how my habit tracker is looking this month. All of these will automatically refresh every week, so I'll get a clean slate. And then this also helps me to look back when I go to my habit page. I can see over time how I've done with all of these. And if I want to add a new habit, if something else pops up I want to start tracking, all I have to do is go here, add a checkbox, change the name, and then I can change the little icon for it too. I also have this workout tracker right here. So this is really helpful for me to just plan out what workouts I want to do for the week. So I just do the name of the workout here, and then I have a link here because I was originally going to use this as like if I have a workout from a certain app or something that I want to do from Pinterest, or I found something online, I can put the link here. Now I'm kind of using it more as location. So I might change the name of this later, but yeah, the original intention was to actually link it here so that I can go to this dashboard, click on it, and go right to that workout. But it's just one of those things that as I've gotten into it, it hasn't worked totally into my workflow. That's okay. And then I also have my menu, which I did not meal plan this week, but in an ideal week, I would plan out all of my breakfast, lunch, dinner, maybe some snacks throughout the whole week. And then I can use that to create my shopping list. I have them collapsed here just to make it look a little bit neater, but you can also expand them if you want to see them all out. And what's cool is since Notion goes on your phone, I'm always going to have my phone with me at the grocery store, so I can just pull it out, look at my shopping list, and check all of these off. And then I have my end of the week reflections too. I actually do most of my journaling in a separate app, but I think it's helpful to have these here just so I can, if I want to look back at the end of the year and click on all of these weeks and see, okay, what did I have going on during these weeks? What did I eat? What kind of workouts did I do? How good was I at doing my habits? How busy was I? If I look at my schedule, how many tasks did I have? I think it will be interesting to be able to cross-reference these answers with that to kind of dig into how all of these different things in my life affect all of these reflections. So that is the monthly and weekly dashboards, and these are the ones that I am in most consistently out of anything on this template. Okay, now let's go into the creative flow. The tasks one isn't that interesting. I never look at this view of it. I usually only look at it on my homepage or on the monthly or weekly dashboards, but if you do want to see them and see any of them that don't have any urgency and aren't assigned a deadline, you can see them all there. Not going to dwell on that too long though. Content system, when I said that my monthly and weekly dashboards are my most used thing, this is my next most used thing. So I'm not going to scroll through all of here because I have a lot of my content ideas that I don't want to share with the world until I release them. But basically this content system is meant to house any of the ideas I have for any of my content channels that I do. So generally how this is organized, I have in progress and then ideas and then publish. So this is where once things are published, I can link to it and it keeps it out of the way, but I'm able to refer to it if I want to, especially if I want to see any of the things that went into it, any of like the scripts or planning or things like that. What's really cool is on the homepage where I had that idea button where I can add a new idea, it automatically gets added to the ideas tab. And then once I have an idea is ready to be acted on, I just click the checkbox all the way to the left and then it pops it over to in progress here. And then am I in progress? I typically just have it on the all content view, but if you want to look at specific content channels just one at a time, you can click here and then it will only show those ones. So I want to show something that is super helpful about this for me, but also for if anyone downloads this. So I have all of these templates right here that are content specific. So for example, if we're doing a podcast episode, you click this and it automatically generates a lot of these things that you have to think through when you're creating a podcast. So anything like title ideas, description, all of these things for scripting, and then some of these typical checklist items that you have to do. So I was going back and forth whether to include these automatically in a task list. I made the decision not to because if you don't use any of this, it's going to be really annoying for you to generate this template and all of these tasks are automatically created and then you have to go through and delete some. So how I've been using it is if I have any of these that I'm ready to do, I'll put them on my task list and schedule them out instead. So that's just how I've been getting into the groove of using this. But I am just obsessed with this content system. It helps me to stay on top of all of these ideas that I have. And now I feel like if I have a day that's free and I'm like, oh, let's make a couple TikToks today, or let's make a new YouTube video, this is really easy for me to just go there and I can see all the ideas I already have. And if I have anything written out, any general outlines or whatever, they're all right there for me. And then also next is just a different view of this. It's just your content calendar, so you can see everything in a calendar view on there. Next is inspiration. This one, since I did just recently build this, I have to build this up a little bit more, but I'm really excited for when I am starting to use this in a more consistent way. But basically, if you find something that inspired you, and whether you just want to house it somewhere so you can go back and look at it and enjoy it later, or if you are actually using it for a specific project, maybe you're building a new website and you find a really, really cool website, add it on here so that you can reference that when you're ready. So there's articles, imagery, products, videos, websites. That's kind of the main categories I saw this being useful in. Next is media. This is probably could be in the random life section, but I don't know. Media is still inspiring and has to do with creativity. So I decided to house it here. But basically, this is just like a watch list or a read list. So any movie, TV show, or book that you find out about and you want to either read or watch it, you can add it here. So I have a few different views. This is what you want to watch. This is what you have watched. And then this is everything. And this is just a different view. If you put a cover for each of these, then you can do the gallery. I don't have any of the covers here, but if you do have the cover on here, it's just like a cute way to be able to see all of those covers. And then next, I'm going to have to blur out a lot of these. These are my writing ideas, but this is one, since I am a writer and I'm trying to actively invest my time into doing more creative writing this year. This is where I just house all of my ideas, and I have them a couple of different content types here. So poem idea, story idea, imagery, or just any random thoughts that I had. Okay, moving on to the business portion. So this is the contacts dashboard. I wanted to keep it pretty simple, just split it between active and inactive. And the idea behind these two, mainly I was thinking about it if you have a client, because that's a lot of the contacts that I would have, and I haven't moved them in here. I have it in a separate system that I have to migrate over, so that's why this is really blank right now. Like I said, I'm just getting started. This is my first month after building this all out, so there's a couple of things that are not totally built out to as much as I want them to yet. But basically, for here, the active versus inactive, this is, let's say you have a current client that you're working with now, and then maybe this is an old client that you had a one-time project with them and you're not really working with them anymore, but you still want to keep their contact information for the future. That's kind of who I would put in inactive. Or if you used to have an affiliate client and you're no longer working with them, but it's still important to keep their information for the future, you can put that in inactive. So if you want to add a new contact, you can press here, or you can just add it right here. And you can do the brand or company, their name, their email, the contact type. You can do an affiliate, podcast guest, collaborator, sponsorship, prospective client, or client. There could be some other options depending on how your business is. These are just the ones that for me are the most relevant, but there could be other types of relationships that you have that you could add there. And then since I added an active, it's checked here. If I have this unchecked, then it moves to inactive. What's also cool is that, especially for content creators, if this is an affiliate relationship that you have and you have to create content for them as sponsored content, you can add it here. So it depends on wherever you start. If you add the content first before you add the contact, then you can select it here. Or if you add the content next, then on the content side, you can add the related contact. So that's really helpful, that if you go into this contact, then you will see all of the related content listed here in this section. We're just trying to centralize everything. Like I said, efficiency, centralization, that is the name of the game in 2024. And then campaigns. This is one thing that I'm super excited about creating and using more. So basically a campaign, how I thought about it, is anytime you're creating content that is more than just a singular piece of content. So that could be for a client. If you're creating multiple pieces of content for them, you can put that as a campaign. Or if you're, for example, when I launched this Notion product, it involves you doing a lot of different types of content, some TikToks, some Pinterest pins, this YouTube video. So that I would all consider one campaign. So this just gives you an opportunity to keep everything centralized. So when you create a new campaign, you click here. This also has a template that just fills in all these details that you want to think through. Some of these might be relevant to every campaign. Some of them might not. So I just put them all here, just things for you to think through as you're starting to just be in the beginning stage of this campaign. So this is the tasks. If any tasks specifically pop up with this campaign, add them to your task list. This is just some details about the scope, brand partnership details, And then if you have any relevant files that you want to keep in one central place, you can post it here. And if you have a Google Drive folder for any of these, you can also embed that Google Drive folder right here. So I love campaigns, and I think that's really going to help me to create more consistent campaigns of content versus just all of these one-off pieces. So just being a little bit more intentional. I'm not going to click on my password manager because that has all my passwords on it, but basically just a place to house all of your usernames and passwords for anything. I do use Google passwords, but this is where I like to keep all of my business related passwords. So my GoDaddy account, Notion, my business Gmail account, my Adobe login, any of those, I think it's helpful to just have them here, especially as my business gets bigger. If I have to share these passwords with anyone, it's going to be more helpful to have them here versus searching through all of my Google passwords mixed in with old ones and personal ones and everything like that. Okay, brand kit. I haven't filled this out yet for myself, but I'm super excited when I get the time to do this. So this basically can be used either internally or externally. So if this is just something you want to fill out as you're building your brand, or if you're hiring people and they need to know more about your brand, or often for a lot of content people, brands will ask for your kit. So this is something that if you share it to the web here and you do publish, you can actually share that right out to them. And then it can be like a living, breathing document instead of you having to create a PDF all the time. So you can do about your brand, your mission and vision, the personality for your brand, any kind of that foundational storytelling around your brand you can put here. And then I have online presence too. I have some typical ones filled out here, but let's say you have a podcast or some other like a Twitch or something like that, you can add that all right here. So it just makes it really easy for everyone to see your online presence at a glance. So I can show you here, I have a template where it generates all of these fields to prompt you to fill it out, but you can do your username, the type, so either a social media or a website. Again, if you have some other kind of category, you can add it here too. Your number of followers, the link to your page, main topics you talk about, your posting consistency, and some sample posts so they can just kind of see at a glance what your content is like on this channel. You can also do your brand assets, so your primary logo, your icon. If you have any other kinds of like different color schemes for your logos and you have specific ways that you're supposed to use them, I also have the directions for use right here too. So if you want to make sure that people only use this color icon on a certain background or on things of a certain size, you can put that there. So whether it's for your team or for the media or for an affiliate partner, they can see very clearly how they're supposed to use them. And then you can do a link to the source file or just add the source file here. You can also do your brand imagery. So if you have any stock images you use or any illustrations or pictures of your team, things like that, you can add those here, as well as if you have a custom font. The media list is really cool. So if you have any coverage, let's say you were featured in a video, kind of like you were highlighted as an expert or as someone inspiring, whatever, anytime someone else is talking about you in the media, you can put it here. And then anytime you are contributing, so let's say that you did a guest blog on someone's blog, or you contributed a quote to an article, you can put that here too. Okay, so that's everything content and business related. So now we'll go into future focus. I'm not going to go through the goal setting super in depth because I have another video if you want to look at it. But basically this is the goal setting dashboard. I'm going to blur my goals out because they're a little bit personal, but basically you just have all of your goals here, and then you can associate them with a certain quarter, or you could have some that are year long. And then from those goals, it'll be associated with a certain goal, and you'll have certain action items that are organized by month. And then the could-do list. So I wrote an article about this. I'll put the link below if you want to learn a little bit more about the could-do list. But basically this is a list for things that popped into your head and you want to get them done, but you don't necessarily want to get them done now or don't have the time to get them done now, but you don't want to forget about it. What you would put on a could-do list is if you want to go through your closet, or you want to reorganize your closet, or you want to look into finding a new therapist, or you want to redo your website. Some of these things that aren't quite as immediate, but you want to make sure you don't forget them, you can add them on here. So you add it here, and then once you are like, I'm ready to take action on this, I'm going to put it on my task list, you just uncheck this, and then it takes it off your could-do list and then pops it over to your task list. So this is a really, really good system for making sure that you're not stressing yourself out over these tasks that are not urgent, but you also are making sure that you're just not forgetting about them and never revisiting them again. Okay, the piggy bank is where we're doing savings. So I haven't filled in my goals here too, so this is still just the example. But so for example, if you have a $10,000 emergency fund goal, this is where you can track how your goal is doing. You can also see it here if you want to see the total goal, percentage of progress, and the amount you've saved towards it. But I like this one just because it's a little bit cleaner. Let me demonstrate how this goes. So for the name, I typically like to use this like where the source is. So if I got birthday money and I got $150 that I want to put towards a goal, you can put a date if you want to. It's not totally necessary. You can delete that column if you don't need it. And then where the magic happens, if you look at that 20%, when I associate it with a savings goal, it bumps it up. So this automatically feeds in your goals, and you can do multiple goals. If I had a different one that was for a new car and I associated it with that, then you can see all of your goals right here. So it's just a fun way to be able to see your progress on a lot of these financial goals. Okay, we'll go quickly through. I know that this is already getting super long. I told you this was like a really in-depth Notion tour. So let's quickly go through this life admin stuff. Like I said, the habits, you can just see this month, this week, all time, just to see what habits you're doing better at achieving than others. And I have Notebook here too. It's called Notebook in mine, but in the one that is for the public, it's actually called Journal. But I created it like that originally, but then realized that I like to use day one right here as my journal. And I was going to switch it, but I actually think I like keeping that here. So this is more like a notebook to keep track of everything. So for this notebook, you can do your entry type. There's all this different stuff. So I have things for my brand right here for two of my different brands. If I want to do any kind of like, if I'm doing SEO research and I want to save that somewhere, or if I do a new bio and I want to save it somewhere. So the way that I'm using it, I have it where I can relate it to a project. So if I am starting this new project and I write a journal entry, or if I take notes about something and I want to relate it to there, I just do this and it'll pop up in that project database. But if you're using this like a journal, what's kind of cool is I have it where you can choose your mood. You can add a new one if you want to also, but then you can go and look at your entries by mood. So if you want to see kind of like some themes when you're feeling certain moods, they're all going to be categorized here. You can also look at it categorized by type. Okay, and projects. So that's where I was just talking about if you could relate it to a project. Oh, where did all of my projects go? Okay, I think my Notion is glitching right here because I was just on here this morning and I have like 10 projects. So let me just show this in the example one so I can show you some projects. Okay, weird. But this is, so a project basically is anything that is something that's more than just a task. Some examples of things that I've used a project for: when I was creating this Notion dashboard, I had a lot of different moving pieces to it, so I kept it centralized as a project. I also used a project when I was moving across the country and I had to keep track of all the checklists of things I needed to do before I moved, after I moved. I put different apartments that I wanted in there. I kept track of all of these different things when I was renting a car, I was shipping a car, we were booking Airbnbs. I kept all of that in one place. So a project is just kind of broadly anything that has more than one task. So I also have a template for this, and this is what shows up for it. So scope, just kind of describing what this project is about, any goals for it, notes and inspiration. This is also integrated with the task database. Any reference files, you can upload them here or link to them. And then you can also choose if it's a personal or a business project. So this one has all kinds of projects, but if you want to specifically see all your personal projects and all of your business projects, you can click there. Okay, so wish list and shopping list, I'm not going to scroll down anymore because I don't want to reveal some ideas that I have, but basically this is just where you can keep track of any ideas that you have for yourself or for your friends and family. I know that anytime someone asks me what I want for a gift, I never have any idea what to tell them. So this is to help with that if I see something cool online, I can just save it to here. And there's even the Save to Notion Chrome plugin. So it makes it even easier. You just click that, fill in any details, it'll automatically populate some details, and then it'll add it on here. So This is just super helpful to keep track of everything you want. So it has the brand, the price, a URL, and then who it's for. And then once, if you do buy something or receive something, you can click this purchased and it'll take it off of your wish list and then put it onto your purchased. So you can also do this with other people in your life too. If they mention in passing something, and there's been so many times where I'm like, oh, that would be a great gift idea for them. And then when it comes time to actually get them a gift, I'm like, I remember that there was a perfect gift that I had for them, but I don't know where I wrote it down or I didn't write it down. This is where you can put it. Okay, things to do, see, and eat. This is just where you can keep track of all of these different activities and restaurants and coffee shops and bars and everything that you want to go to. So I have it split out. There's ones in LA, any of these LA things that I want to do. So like I have all of these restaurants, tons of restaurants I want to try, and I am religious about adding them on here. But you can also add different locations too. So this is just the homepage with all of them, and see there's some in Atlanta, some in Seattle. As I'm planning a trip, I want to definitely add some things to do there. So all I'd have to do is just duplicate this and then change the filter. Instead of Los Angeles, it would just say whatever the new location is. And then you can have all these different tabs of things to do, see, and eat in all these other places. And then our very last thing is the recipes tab. So this one, I need to add in a lot of my recipes. This is another one that's a little bit blanker, but I'm excited to get this all integrated into here. And then I'm going to, my next phase in optimizing this dashboard is I want to be able to somehow automatically populate these into my weekly dashboard. So when I'm going through and deciding on my meals for the week, I want to be able to pick these out and then automatically populates my shopping list. So stay tuned. That's the next phase of this. But so I just have it separated by types. This is all recipes, but if you want to go to appetizers, breakfast, lunch, once you have a lot more recipes in here, I think it'll be helpful to have that separation. But here I have another template that'll automatically populate this stuff too. So, and you can also do a link to the recipe if it's from Pinterest or something. So it'll prompt you to put all the ingredients and the instructions. So it's all right there. They're just like little recipe cards. And there's another functionality here. If you've already tried it and you're looking to try new things more, it depends on how you want to use it. If you don't really care if you do something once and you will probably want to eat it again, then you can just go right here. But if you do want to, like, let's say one of your goals is to try a lot of new recipes to cook this year, you can do all recipes to try. And then this is any of the ones that you haven't checked it off that you tried, they're right here. So that is it. That was my full Notion life dashboard. I'm super proud of it. This was, like I said, a month-long process of just me building this out. But before that, 2 years of watching Notion tutorials, downloading templates, going to the back end, seeing how they work. It's been a really fun project to build this all out, and I'm excited to be able to just have my full planning system and organizational, my whole life basically in Notion. It's exciting to have everything here. So if you are kind of on the same wave that you really want to take this deep dive into Notion, definitely either build it yourself. I think this is a fun experience to be able to build it out yourself. You feel a lot more ownership of it, but it is a big time commitment. So if you just want to get started and jump in with a really, really solid Notion workspace, especially if you're a content creator or some other kind of creative, just go ahead and download this from Etsy or Gumroad. It's only $10 and it was made with a lot of love. So yeah, if you want to buy it, you can go look in the link below. But thank you so much for watching this walkthrough, and I hope you enjoyed, and good luck in your Notion journey wherever you're at in 2024.